There was a cafe I worked at where we had a regular customer that came in every single day, and he got a coffee that quickly got labeled his name. It was easily the sweetest brew I have ever made. It was a caramel mocha with about three sugars. Pretty standard for a labourer worker. Not stereotyping here, but they do tend to like their sweetness. Today, I'm going to be going over the 6 ways you can sweeten your coffee. First, being syrups. There was this cafe I worked at where the same cafe I talked about, that we had a sort of supplier of sorts that dealt in syrups. They were called Shot and they were from New Zealand. They had all of the flavors you could dream of. You could have a banana coffee, you could have a macadamia coffee, well beyond just the standard caramel, vanilla, and hazelnut that most cafes stock. And it was incredibly good quality syrup that you could put in milkshakes. Some of the syrups I've encountered can be a very sort of overly sweet, and some flavors can have somewhat of a rancid taste to it. So it's really hit and miss. If you do like to add a little bit of flavor to your coffee, I would suggest you going with a syrup. The second type is sugar. So you can get raw sugar and white sugar. Both of these will mask the flavor of your coffee. Raw sugar, not so much. It isn't as processed. However, white sugar definitely will mask the taste of your coffee. So please be wary when you use those. The third type are your artificial sweeteners. They are stevia and sort of equal. One thing to look out for with stevia, it's not really too bad for us, but it was used as ant poison. So if you've got an ant problem and you have some stevia hanging around, feel free to just pour that on the bench because it will kill any ants that come in. It is a bit of an artificial taste as well. It isn't as overly sweet as the sugar, and whoever's putting it in their cup of coffee is kind of kidding themselves because the milk itself that they will have in their coffee will have about 12 grams of sugar in it anyway. So that's a bit of a sort of scream out to you there. If you're stemming up your milk right, you won't need to put any sugar in it because it'll be more than sweet enough. The fourth, probably my favorite, is panela. It is a new type of sugar that has come out recently in a couple of specialty cafes I worked at. And it's a natural process. The really cool thing with vanilla is it won't mask the flavor of your coffee at all. It will actually bring out a lot of natural sweetness. So how they get this product is they've got the sugar cane. They'll cut the sugar cane down the bottom. All of the juices will flow out in the tray, and then they'll crush it up and process it with some nuts and some honey and some other goodness. It's a very good way of getting people who drink black coffee onto coffee, because you can put a scoop of this into a shot of espresso and it will make it really sweet and really nice and easy to drink, and it won't be too intense. Fifth, straight up honey. Some people get honey in their coffee, and I think it's awesome, as it won't mask the flavor as much as raw sugar or white sugar, but it will still give that sweetness, that really nice sweetness, and it will also pair with the milk beautifully. So if you're a sugar drinker, I suggest switching to honey. Take a page from the bees there. The last but not least is my own personal choice whenever I go to a cafe. I'm used to drinking expensive black coffee and critiquing the hell out of it. So it's a gift and a curse. Whenever I'm sipping a cup of coffee, I will be thinking about the flavor. I will be thinking about the natural flavor in the beans as well as how well it's been extracted, which can really kill my jam if I'm trying to get a coffee to wake up. So what I'll do is I'll go and get either a dirty chai or a mocha. Don't be misled. A dirty chai is just a chai latte that has a shot of coffee in it. And I find this is a great alternative because sometimes the chais can be really nice and sweet. But if the sweetness is a bit of an overkill and you still want to kick of that caffeine, the coffee shots will take out that over sweetness of the chai, and the chai will stop the intensity of the coffee. So you get this really nice middle ground. And a mocha is just chocolate and coffee together. Do watch out though. It is a question I ask if they use powdered chai or syrup chai, because in my experience, the syrup chai absolutely sucks. It's really overly sweet and has a pretty rancid taste to it. However, the powder stuff, absolutely delightful and amazing. And normally you mix it in with your shot, so you won't get any of that chunky stuff down the bottom. So these are the 6 ways to sweeten your coffee. We've got syrups, sugar, equal, vanilla, honey, and lastly, powder, being chai or chocolate. Tune in tomorrow, where I will be discussing how you should talk to your customers.